Rooster Creek Quilting in Holt Summit, Missouri is your one-stop shop for all your quilting needs and more. Their specialties include great customer rapport to assist you with finding that perfect fabric, notion, pattern, pre-cuts, and embroidery supplies. Rooster Creek also offers professional long-arm quilting services and classes and much more. Don't wait for the rooster to crow. Visit Rooster Creek Quilting at Holt Summit Plaza, Holt Summit, Missouri. It's a great place to go for all your quilting needs.
Hi, and welcome to Rooster Creek, where quilting is always fun. I'm Linda Bertine, owner of LindaBertineCreations.com, and I'm your co-host today.
I'm Teresa Cuno, and I'm owner of Rooster Creek Quilting in Holt Summit, Missouri, and we're so glad you tuned in.
Yeah, today's topic is foundation paper piecing or paper piecing. What do you prefer to call it?
I normally call it paper piecing unless I am sewing onto a piece of fabric. Then I call it foundation piecing.
Okay. I probably call it foundation paper piecing because I consider that paper to be part of that foundation or that building block. Now, why do you like to do foundation paper piecing or paper piecing, Teresa?
It was so accurate.
I agree.
You can get points that I don't think you could get any other way. And it's fun. It's like working a jigsaw puzzle to me. Some people feel like it's monotonous, but when you think of it as a puzzle, then after you've sewn a few pieces and you get those little pieces put together, all of a sudden you've got this quilt that's just kind of opening, this bloom that's opening up in front of your eyes. So.
I agree, Teresa. And it's really fun because you don't actually see your progress until you turn the item over, the paper over. Well, let's take you to our workshop today. So before we get started in the workroom, let's take a look at some projects that you can do while foundation or paper piecing.
Sure.
What do you have behind us?
Oh, this is a beautiful quilt. This one is done with paper piecing. This is the Lady Liberty block, and this is all done with strip piecing. Now you can do this particular pattern in paper piecing by another designer, but this particular one was pieced.
Mm-hmm. I like it to use it for the boldness and the fact that you can make quick and easy projects like this. This is actually going to be a pillow cover when I'm finished, but I love the way you get some exact piecing and you can get little spirals,
and
small
details.
Small details, love that, yeah.
Yes. Uh-huh.
All right. Now another one that we have here, this New York Beauty in the center here, this is also paper pieced. And what I like about this one is you don't see it, but there are actually 3 colors in each of the blades, so you get some real sharp precision. And then again, it's a curve, and you can still do this.
Yeah, curves are really nice to do with paper piecing.
And then, of course, the real reason I love paper piecing is the points. Yes. You get such accurate points, and these are actually, believe it or not, these are 5 blocks. There are 4 blocks that are actually the same, but just by changing the outer fabric, instead of using a black, I used an orange. I created a center medallion to it. Mm-hmm. But this is fun, and like I said, the points are super fun.
Super fun.
But do they all have to be hard?
No, no, no. This is the Judy Niemeyer Crackers quilt, and any beginner can make this quilt. And it is paper pieced, and as you see, it's got the flying geese. They actually go in a curve. Now, to piece this, I would probably go crazy. But to be able to do it with the paper piecing, it's accurate. Every one is the same. All your points are exact. They don't get chopped off in the seams. It just makes it more relaxing and even more fun.
And I think anybody who wants to try foundation paper piecing should just give it a try. If you need permission,
yes.
We're giving you permission today.
Yes. And
all right.
Don't be afraid.
Yep.
The worst thing can happen, you'll have to buy more fabric.
Hey, shopping is so hard.
I'm okay with that.
All right, on to the studio. Okay, let's get started. When we first start our foundation paper piecing or our paper piecing techniques, we need to cut some fabric and get that organized so that it's rip ready to go. What do you recommend, Teresa?
As far as organizing?
As far as organizing, what do you like to do?
Well, I like to cut my pieces, and then the patterns that I use usually have a template like this, and so I actually can cut all of the pieces I need for the whole quilt for that one section in one cut.
And this comes in the pattern?
This comes in the pattern. Most paper piecing does not.
Right.
When I do not have the template, this is the way I do it, which is how you do it.
This is how I do it. Most of the pattern designers that I use will give you a simple square or rectangle that you cut, and sometimes you can cut those then, you know, to make half square triangles. Sometimes they direct you on further, or sometimes they tell you to piece pieces together. And then what I like are my little labels here. I just print these off on cardstock, and then they're ready to cut out, and I use these lovely clips. But if you don't have these clips, you can use bulldog clips from your office supply, or even solar dryers. You know what they are?
No.
Clothespins. Okay.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so you can use clothespins to hold these. But what you do is you label them corresponding to the piece that's going to be on your paper, and then
what I do is once I get all of those together and labeled, then I put them in a bag, and I mark the bag and which part of the quilt it is and which fabrics I used. That way, when I get to the machine, when I'm putting my pieces together like this, I know from a glance that this next piece is in this bag.
Oh, that's a great idea, Teresa.
It really
I like that.
helps, yes.
I like that a lot. I use a lot of Rubbermaid totes or shoe boxes to hold all of my pieces together, just so I don't have to re-iron them once I get them to where I need to be. Now, once again, we're talking about foundation paper piecing or paper piecing, some refer to it.
Right.
This is a little different than what some people refer to as English paper piecing.
It is very different, yes.
Yes. So foundation paper piecing is a pattern that's printed on paper or another surface, and as you sew, you're sewing on the line, and your quilt block is constructed on the back side.
Yes, so the front of your quilt block, you will see from the back side of your block.
Right. And this is different because English paper piecing actually has a small piece of paper that is wrapped with fabric and then sewn together either by hand or by machine. Now, when I got into paper piecing, everything was being done with either using a vellum or this is like a newsprint type paper, and you print those. And the vellum, I tried it because a lot of when I do teach paper piecing, it was easier for my students to see through it when I was demonstrating the lining up of the seam allowances and such. But the one thing I found is after I would press it with an iron and add a little heat, and then it was sewn into the quilt, it was a little hard to remove on the back side. So that's kind of a negative that I found.
Fun.
No, it's not fun. But of course, the paper piecing with the newsprint turns out to be a very, very easy method. Okay. And you're also using a paper method, aren't you?
I am. And, you know, we were talking about the folding. I just wanted to share a little tip. I use a system where you cut a piece of template plastic and
make it readable.
Don't get it too close to your rotary cutter or you will cut a chunk out of it. But
sounds like wisdom. Yes. Okay.
Okay. What I do is I stack all of my pieces. I want to show you how now this isn't as neat as I would have them at my machine, but then what I do is you always have the piece number 1 towards you. Let me get it where you can see it. And then I take this template plastic, and instead of folding all my lines ahead of time like you did, I like them to be crisp, and I fold them after I've stitched it. Now, if this end is too long, you can either roll it or fold it up and take one of your clips or a pen and put it right here, and then, thank you. Then when you go to the sewing machine, here, I missed a step. Okay, so I folded. Do you have your add a quarter?
I do, somewhere.
I would not even try to paper piece without an add a quarter. Do you want to explain that?
Yeah, this is an acrylic ruler that you use with your rotary cutter. And what I like about this, if you can see it on the side here, it actually has a little bit of a lip. And that lip, what it does is it hooks onto the edge that she folded, and it holds this piece of quilter's template here, and then you can cut your excess fabric off, and what this does is it gives you a perfect 1/4 of an inch for your seam allowance.
Yes, so when you go to the sewing machine, which I take it like this, and you open your fabric, which you never open your fabric till you get to your sewing machine, you will have an exact 1/4 inch of fabric. Oops, I didn't put the other piece on. I missed
That's
that.
okay, that's okay. Piece of paisley?
Yeah, my space is not as big here. Okay, I keep my templates lined up beside me, and so the seam edge is always at the top, and the right side of your fabric is always up. And so I lay this down, and after I have trimmed with the 1/4 inch, I pick it up, and then I lay it on top of the new fabric. Now, you have to make sure that you're covering your next piece, which, we didn't talk about. That's this piece right here. So, one thing you can do is you can try to see the lines through here. Another one, which I used to do when I started out, is you take a pencil and you just make little hash lines on those, and you will always know exactly where your piece needs to be. So then when we go to the sewing machine and we open it, we will stitch exactly on that dark line. You always go at least 2 stitches above and below it.
Okay.
And then after you've sewn it, and I'm going to just hold it like we've sewn it, it will look like this.
Exactly perfect.
So then on my piece of template plastic that I was talking about, I have my steps written out. So I fold.
You fold your paper back with this inside.
Then we trimmed. Then we stitched. Then we press.
So you're opening it up on the back side of it and pressing it.
Pressing it. Then you go back and you fold.
Okay. Now,
so this just is a helper. And if you get lost, you look back to see, okay, what did I do last? I trimmed.
Okay.
Well, then you know
to stitch.
Because it's easy to get lost.
Okay. Now, there's just one thing that I do just a little bit different.
Good. Okay.
So if I can, I'm going to go ahead and just fold this. I know.
That's okay.
I like to fold mine ahead of time, and the reason being, if I can see.
Oh.
Okay, so when I pull this back, now I know the shape. You said you drew it with a line.
Draw it.
No, that's where the folding, and then I know I can lay this down and I can look at my fold pieces, and I know I have my angle and everything covered.
That's wonderful. I can see that, yes.
Yes, and so that's why I pre-fold.
That's such a good idea.
It's just another little hint or tip to get you started.
Yeah.
Make it
fun.
And make it fun. Because there's nothing less fun than making errors.
And having to tear it out. Although you can tear paper piecing out without ruining your template, you would just put Scotch tape along the line that you're going to tear.
That's right.
And you rip it from the back side.
That is correct.
Yes.
That's what I was just going to say next, is if you tear and you'll notice that your pattern is starting to deteriorate in any way, shape, or form, a little bit of Scotch tape on this side, because remember, we do all of our pressing on this side, so it doesn't ever touch the heat, so that's why it works. But that's a really good tip. All right.
Thank you.
I know we have more hints and tips, but I guess I'll have to wait for next time.
That's right.
Well, it was a really great episode with lots of helpful hints and tips on how to do foundation or paper piecing.
It was. It was fun. And if it isn't fun, why do it?
That is so true. So be sure to check us out on the web at roostercreekquilting.com or lindabertincreations.com, where you can find newsletters, classes, and even helpful hints and maybe some freebies.
And don't forget to subscribe.